Hey everybody, welcome back for another episode of Wicked Good Show. I am your host Dylan, joined by my good pal Brian. We have we this is our return. This is our part two to our comeback tour.
Hmm.
Naturally, we're recording this a week later than we intended. So I imagine the schedule on this is going to be chaotic for the remainder of the show. So
Hmm.
for the three listeners that we had last week, welcome back, and I'm sorry that you had to wait an entire
Hmm.
2 weeks for us. But we're here, baby. We're here. It is June 29th as we're recording. I am glad to be back. We do have some very, very interesting topics to talk about today, too. We're also still trying to find some structure to the show. I think we've come up with some decent bones. We're going to do something today that maybe we'll never do again if it's
Hmm.
awful, and then we'll kind of see where these conversations go. But yeah, Brian, what's up? How have you been this week? What's going on?
Hey, I've been well. Like you said, we didn't have an episode last week, but I'd love to say that's going to change. We'll be more consistent. Absolutely, will not. We'll probably continue to be inconsistent. So just stay subscribed to the channel. We'll come out when we come out. It's been a long couple of weeks for everyone out there. So, you know, I, thanks for listening, obviously, and sorry that we're like this.
And we don't get paid to do this, so
No,
that's also another big thing.
yes. If you want to give us $100 million, I'm not talking a lot, like Joe Rogan money right away. Fine, sure, we'll do a weekly show, I guess. But even then, I feel like I'm a strong advocate of not changing when you get money. So even then, I feel like it would be inconsistent.
Yeah, we're like the best type of people to give money to.
Mm-hmm. That's what I always say. We're the best people. No one's taken me up on it yet, but I feel like we just keep saying.
But you keep putting out like these
Mm-hmm.
banger shows. I don't think they will be very long until
Mm-hmm.
Hollywood is just knocking at our door.
Yes.
Hopefully for the right reasons, and it's not a bunch of Scientologists want to
Yeah.
throw us into like one of those concentration camps that they have.
Not after last week. Yeah. Well, actually, yeah. After the last episode, maybe they will come and kidnap us.
But hey, Tom Cruise, baby,
Mm.
he's still going.
And for the record, I can be turned if they work me hard enough or threaten any bit of physical violence. I'll fold
Oh
right
yeah,
away.
for any amount of money, I would
Mm-hmm.
happily just flip. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't want it to ever be confused that we're claiming to be on a high horse on the show because we're certainly not.
Mm-hmm.
We're just simply just calling things as we see it. We're not saying whether it's right or wrong.
Yeah, like any of the former PGA now live golfers, I also will take a lot of money and just do whatever and say whatever.
Yeah, yeah, it's tough for me. Like, I'm very much pro PGA
Hmm.
over the live, but it's really hard for me to say if like I'm on the back end of my golf career or I suck
Hmm.
like Bryson DeChambeau and I like they're just gonna give me $100 million to just go play golf. Like, just so happens to be just on the other side
Hmm.
of this ocean. Sure, I will
Yeah,
probably go do that.
it's
We
easy
don't
to say that you wouldn't take the money when the money's not being offered to you.
we don't need to get into like the Saudi money and the nine
Hmm.
eleven and all that. It's just
Hmm.
like I'll take the money, but also like we're in the U.S. We're not clean. I'm sure the PGA has got a few bodies buried under
Hmm.
their courses, and no one's innocent. But
Yeah.
I am kind of sick of all this talk because I remember you wanted to bring up maybe have this be a talking point of the show, and like I'm kind of just sick of the live and PGA talk because
Hmm.
for reasons I just said. I think most of the guys that have gone over there, with uh, with the exclusion of some of the bigger names, most of these guys, but even some of the bigger names too, like Phil Mickelson, like dude's like at the end of his career.
Hmm.
And he looks like he's just like in a back alley of some like dive bar, just like selling coke now. Like I don't know if you saw that picture. He's wearing like a leather jacket. He's got like a really long, like really like just grown out, but it's still a 5 o'clock shadow somehow
Hmm.
beard. Um, it's and like Brooks Koepka. Brooks Koepka was probably the biggest one that hurt because I'm a big Brooks Koepka fan.
Hmm.
But I don't think until you have somebody like Rory or Tiger, or players that are in their prime
Yeah.
right now go over. I don't think it's going to be an issue.
Yeah.
But I
Did
think I
John
just
Daly go over?
I have literally no idea. It sounds like something that he would do,
Mm-hmm.
because he's like I don't even know. Like he golfs sometimes, but sometimes he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't. I know he does a lot more like pro-am stuff now,
Yeah.
and like celebrity. But that seems like something like right up his alley.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I remember seeing a story like a few weeks ago of he was playing and like or maybe it came out a few weeks ago from his earlier playing days, but he like would just drink like Diet Cokes and just smoke cigarettes like it's the whole round. I think it was
Mm-hmm.
recent because obviously I've heard that before about John Daly, but I think it was like recently
Yeah.
because he has like that big Santa Claus look now that he literally was just like ripping darts and chugging like Diet Cokes and probably
Mm-hmm.
like beers on the course. I mean, it's like what the average person does on the golf course
Mm-hmm.
now for all like our
He
non-pro
just does it
people. So
professionally.
that's just like fucking awesome. He's just
Mm-hmm.
like fat and gross and he has a huge Santa Claus beard. That's the
Mm-hmm.
dream.
I have a lot of respect for him just not giving any bit of a fuck. To be good enough to be a professional, but to still not give enough of a fuck to try to be the best, love it.
It's amazing what you can do when you have a little bit of personality and
Mm-hmm.
like barely any talent. I'm not gonna say John Daly's not talented though, because he
Mm-hmm.
like just smacks balls. But it is amazing how this day and age, and this is just going on John Daly too, but just
Mm-hmm.
how like people with like the bare minimum of talent and like a little bit of charisma is
Mm-hmm.
just like beloved by people, like especially in this TikTok age. John Daly, at least, like I said, would just send piss missiles of golf balls
Mm-hmm.
across his golf course. Anybody he looks cool doing it too. So
Yeah,
um,
and to bring it
I
all back around, if you think we have any bit of charisma, please give us a lot of money to continue to
yeah.
podcast. Thank you.
Let's see what John Daly does. So John Daly, I just been curious if he even said anything about the office. I doubt it. Major Champ turned down a live broadcast job. Hold on.
They wanted to put him on
I
a
don't know if it's him, but the
podcast.
line at the bottom of this, all the only part of this story that I'm seeing, the line at the very bottom said John Daly's Taco Bell order is pretty incredible.
Hell
So
yeah.
so let me
Oh
hold on.
yeah.
I want to click on this article.
Mm,
It's golf RX golfwrx.com.
mm-hmm.
Major champion turned down live broadcast job, being told he would face disciplinary action. So let's see where we can get there.
Yeah, they're
No,
doing
so
real journalism there, looking up his Taco Bell order.
no, so John Daly was not offered. It was
Oh.
yesterday. It was revealed that 2011 Open champion Darren Clark was made a generous offer in the form of a 3-year deal to be a commentator on the broadcast for Live Golf. Which that's another thing too. I really don't like I said. I really don't care. I'm going to keep watching the PGA because I just think it's it'd be like a player going from like the NBA over to like the Chinese league like whatever, all the power to you. And I'm sure it's like people over there will watch. I have no fucking interest. Like even if LeBron James would go over there, like okay, see LeBron James, you're out of my life now.
Right.
Like so you're playing China, great, that's fine. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
gonna watch it. Which is the same thing here. I'm probably never gonna watch like a live tournament because I also the little like pieces that I did see, their broadcast was terrible. And super quick background for people who don't know what the fuck we're talking about. So the live tournament was basically started over in Europe. It's like the American side, even though they play all over the world, is the PGA. There's that league, and now there's a live league over across the pond, and it's basically backed by the Saudi royal family and like a
Mm-hmm.
whole bunch of conglomerates over there. They're paying for the league and they're offering like a shitload of money to all these PGA players to come over and play. Really, the only
Mm-hmm.
ones that have gone over are ones that are like have not been playing well for the past few years,
Mm-hmm.
or ones that suck like Bryson, or ones that are like old. They're basically like their careers a year or two away from being done, like Phil Mickelson. Who also has a monstrous gambling problem. Basically, these guys are just leaving the PGA and going over to go play over there, and that's it. But they threw this together. It feels like within like less than a year. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that this literally just came up like out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like one day somebody was like, "Oh, like the live tournament." I think Dustin Johnson, I think, was the first big one that I was like, "Oh wow, this is really interesting." And I think Dustin Johnson was the first one that went over when it was like the first day to decide. And then
Mm-hmm.
after that, the dominoes fell. Like Bryson went over there, and Brooks Koepka was the most recent one. Um, my guy, the Gooch, went over there too. He was like he was one of the younger guys on the Masters tournament anyway. So that's like the big debate between PGA and Liv. If you're listening to this and you even remotely know what we're talking about, then you probably understand the entire story, so we won't go any further. I'm just trying to find this John Daly line about his Taco Bell order, and I can't find it, which is ridiculous. So I don't really know where to get what to do.
Some things are better left to the imagination.
I guess. Apparently, he just has like an unbelievable Taco Bell order. But like, I don't know why that this is flagged in this story, and it's nowhere in it. So I'm scrolling down until I find the word John Daly, and I don't. It's like I just want to know what the Taco Bell order is. It's really more of what I want to know. But yeah, that's that story. But yeah, Brian, like I said, in the end, I just don't care. I don't care.
That's fair. I think. Didn't Taco Bell just bring some kind of pizza to their store? I don't know. People are making a big deal about that. I haven't had Taco Bell in a long time. Surprisingly, given the current state of things, obviously. But
I have a very unfortunate situation where all the Taco Bells near me, like they're so it's a combination of two things. One, when I got COVID last fall, it completely messed up my smelling sense, my smelling and tasting, and it's still all thrown off. Everything like just tastes different to me. Like Coke tastes like really like piney, and it sucks. Like I can't even enjoy like a nice glass of Coca-Cola anymore because it just has like this piney taste, and it's disgusting.
That's great.
And like meat changed and developed its own taste. And anything like that, and like sometimes meat also smells like the dumps I take. It's a very unfortunate. Man. It's very, very weird. I feel like it's something that obviously was one of like the early warning signs of when people were getting COVID is that you either lose your sense of smell or things started to smell weird. But I feel like we're just gonna. I have had like no signs of getting my taste back. It's remained the same to the point that I kind of forget what certain things taste like regular Coke and all that. It's very weird. But another thing is that the Taco Bells near me, they're like syrup for the Baja Blast are always just out of whack. But now I kind of wonder too if it's my taste buds that are thrown off. But I went and got like the like canned Baja Blast, and it tastes the same. It tastes like the same like it used to. So I have like this bullshit of Taco Bell around me. Just all of them, all their Baja Blast tastes awful. Yeah, they wrap all it up because I went on like a 10-minute tirade until I realized that we weren't recording at the moment.
It's like wow, Ryan's really listening intently.
Frozen. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. All the Taco Bells around me and their Baja Blasts are all like fucked, so I can't even enjoy it. And I don't even know like what other drinks are offered at Taco Bell because I've never gotten anything with the Baja Blast for the past like 10 years.
Yeah, presumably the Pepsi stuff, right?
I think you're right. I think it's like 7-Up or Sierra Mist or whatever. Well, they also have Mountain Dew.
Yeah, so that's the B team.
Yeah,
the DCEU to the MCU of the Coke products.
I will report back next time we record with what John Daly's Taco Bell order is, though.
Good. Hard-hitting journalism only here. And then maybe one day we can just drive around to all the Taco Bells around us until we find a Baja Blast that tastes good.
Or like discover that my COVID side effects are just permanent for the rest of my life.
That would be a bummer of a conclusion to the episode.
I'm going to quickly Google it just to see what it is. Okay, here we go. Okay. I have the article, Golf Digest. So this is legit. Okay. Part of the reason John Daly is so loved by the masses, a big part of the reason actually is his relatability, or it's basically everything we had just said earlier. Watching him rip a driver, take a swig of his supersized Diet Coke, and throw a cigarette in his mouth reminds folks of themselves, minus the part where the golf ball travels over 300 yards. Yep. Because, my friends, there is simply nothing as relatable or as a drunken food order. Okay. Behold, John Daly's $446 Taco Bell order on Uber Eats, which he proudly posted on his Instagram story with the caption, "Don't drink and order Taco Bell on Uber Eats." A phrase we've all uttered to our...
That's like 6 items once you put it on the fees.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the rest of the receipt is cut off. Okay, so fuck this story. all the receipt fucking has is total $446, and it says 20 mild sauce packets, and it says 5 grilled cheese burritos, and then that's all that's in the fucking picture. Unfortunately, the rest of the receipt is cut off, so we'll never know how jelly. Fucking fuck you.
Your Golf Digest, reach out if you want to write this article.
Half a G worth of T-Bell and 110 crunchy tacos and 10 spicy double steak burritos, barely putting them over the $100 mark. What? Fucking never mind. Let's just go to the next topic. Fuck this. That was stupid.
That was
Such a
unfortunate.
clickbait.
Very
fucking
unfortunate.
Story.
Well, while we're on the topic of food, drinks, that kind of stuff, I just saw. So you know how Disney World has Star Wars now. Apparently, it hasn't. COVID, nothing has been killing it in terms of, people going places. But they have like the hotel that's supposed to be a big experience, but it's way too expensive, so no one is going to it. They're trying to make it all the money back, I guess, by having a new drink, a cocktail called a Kyber Crystal. Good name for a cocktail for a Star Wars theme. Do you want to guess how much this costs?
So obviously it's very expensive.
Oh, it's insanely expensive.
I'll guess $30.
$30. $5,000.
What is it?
I don't know. It just says Kyber Crystal, $5,000. Is this true? I don't know. I saw it on Twitter and I took it at face value, so I'm going to say it is. That's insane. The top comment under the tweet I saw was, "I better become a Jedi if I get this," which I think is fair. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what Disney's thinking there.
Well, now I like have to look up I have to look up what it is.
Yeah,
like what's in the drink.
What's in it? What could even be in it? Like Pappy Van Winkle whiskey.
$5,000? Is it like huge?
I don't know. It's a cocktail, so presumably it's at least in like a cocktail glass.
Kyber Crystal. $5,000 drink. Star Wars Disney. Hyperspace Line on Disney Wish Cruise Line has a $5,000 cocktail. I mean, that has to be it.
Yeah.
Well, the actual bar looks like complete shit compared to what it's at other parks. Yeah, apparently, like, the place is cool, but it's not, like... It's not,
as good as how much it costs.
Alright, so I'm going to assume... this is what it is. So, let's just go with it. So, it's saying that with the $5,000... Oh, this is just this person saying it's their guess as to what's included. Fucking...
Journalism is in just an incredible state of disrepair at the moment.
Fucking hate the internet so much sometimes.
Yep.
Alright. Hold on. Alright. Is there a link somewhere? I think there's a link. I know this is like riveting fucking radio we have going on here.
Well, it gives me the chance to put that picture of Mark Hamill drinking the blue milk in
Alright,
The
so
Last Jedi in the thumbnail, so it's really all for this.
So I'm seeing this video of it opening. It is very cool.
Yeah, the video Dylan's talking about it's opening in the ice cream maker thing from The Empire Strikes Back.
All it is a shot, though.
Yeah.
Whoa. This isn't even like a big ass drink or anything. It's just a shot.
I don't. That's why when I saw that, I was like, surely that can't be it. Right?
I would throw up if I saw it. I mean, once again, though, the people that are going to stay at Star Wars right now are either like those like super weird like people that like go to Disney like 10 times a year, which I say is super weird, but I'm honestly pretty fucking jealous of that. I wish.
Yeah, like I would love to be able to do that, and that's just my life.
I think it's like the Disney like people get a bad rap on the internet, and it's like just molded my brain because I said that out loud, and that sounds awesome. But like I think Star Wars.
I would love to be riding Rock and Roller Coaster right now. In fact,
I think it was like you only got 2 nights in the Star Wars one. It's like 2 nights. All the food is included, but you get like you basically like are 2 nights of cosplaying and like building your own lightsaber and all that stuff, and like you drink like in a Star Wars environment. Like I guess that's kind of cool. But they showed the rooms. The rooms look like, I don't know if you've ever been on a cruise. The rooms look like basically like small cruise ship rooms. Like they
Mm.
were not. They were very very like small, compact. Like like two very small like slits in the wall for like two bunk beds and then like a bed in the middle. I'd be very pissed if I paid that much and like that's what I was getting.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't see myself booking a trip to that anytime soon.
Okay, so for $5,000, you get basically 3 shots of whatever the fuck that is. That's great.
Okay, that
Very
doesn't
cool. I'm
seem
assuming
worth it.
most of that. I'm assuming there's like an inflation cost in that too, of people being able to like take a picture of it and put it on Instagram and all that
Mhm.
stuff too. That's
It
just
is for the Disney influencers for sure.
yeah, the
So they
internet.
have this video. I drank the $5,000
Yeah,
Star Wars Kyber crystal drink with like the thumbnail. I
yeah.
fucking make fun of YouTube people, and I'm a fucking person who grind out YouTube almost every day. So who am I to say anything?
Yeah. The internet is like ruining our brains and
Mm-hmm.
making people insane. Well, other than that, what have you been up to this week, Brian? What have you watched? We're not strictly movies and TV anymore, but we will mainly be talking about
Yeah.
movies and TV a lot.
So obviously, speaking of Star Wars, I watched Kenobi, really enjoyed it. I've decided I hate everyone on the internet. Like you said, it's broken everyone's brain. Everyone thinks they're like an amazing. It is a little annoying as someone who, went to college, got an English degree, which, useless, but at least I did take a lot of writing classes and like have been in lots of situations where my writing gets very critiqued and like had to learn how to deal with that. Everyone thinks they're fucking great writers. Everyone thinks they can fix Star Wars. Everyone thinks like they can do everything great. I really like the Kenobi series. I really just hate people's takes on media right now. So everyone needs to just shut up and just enjoy what they enjoy, and then if they don't enjoy it, fine, but don't like make that your personality.
So naturally, I have to like debate you on this
Okay.
because overall I feel the same. I did like Kenobi. I didn't love it. I liked it
Mm-hmm.
a good amount though. I think it was better for a nostalgia trip, and it was very cool seeing Hayden Christensen playing Vader again. Also
Yes,
seeing
very cool.
Vader in like his peak of like I mean, I guess
Mm.
spoilers for Kenobi for anybody who hasn't watched of him like walking around snapping necks.
Yep.
Obviously, we get to see the shot of Hayden Christensen in the Darth Vader
Mm.
mask, like when the mask was half sliced open. So I did think there was a lot of really cool moments like that. Probably my favorite moment was when Vader's screaming and it's part Anakin, part Vader, like the James Earl Jones and part Hayden Christensen's voice cutting in and out. I thought that
Yeah, that was cool.
was very awesome. I think in general, my issue is that I just think that I do agree. I think there's certain properties and certain stories, movies and TV shows that it's just cool to just sit back and enjoy it and try not to pay attention to it. I think this day and age though of movies and TV being more readily available for people to watch whenever wherever. I think that
Mm.
the collective masses as a whole have kind of become critics, and I know I'm definitely for sure one of them. And I also just think it's too of just being more of obviously the internet has a big thing to do with it too of just being more aware of like cinematographers
Mm.
and uh, uh, for example like whoever's the composer. I think more people pay attention to those now probably than they did back in the day, and that
Sure.
just could
Yeah.
be me talking out of my ass too. But I think that like I really just try to pay attention to all that. But it's from not my enjoyment. It does affect how I feel about certain movies and TV shows too. But I just think the Disney shows it's happening. It happened with Marvel too.
Mm.
I think that they just have such a huge budget. Um, and Obi Wan looked great. I don't know how anybody can complain about how well it looked
Mm.
because I think the special effects and all that were just were awesome. But like on Moon Knight, for example, obviously switching over to Marvel,
Mm.
the special effects there I thought looked really bad at times too.
Mm.
And they were doing really complicated because the entire suit. I actually discovered the entire suit wasn't CGI. I thought it was, the torso portion isn't, but the mask and the head and all that is. And I imagine why they would have to make that CGI. But it just seems in all these shows, the writing and the storytelling, for me at least, really really suffer. Like, I don't think that it's like I could care less of everybody that keeps going back to for Kenobi, going back to Vader saying on the Death Star, like, last time we met,
Sure.
the
Yeah.
or I was the apprentice, you were the master, whatever words reversed. All the Star Wars fans are gonna hate me for not knowing that
It's
line
fine.
for line.
You don't need them to love you. It's fine.
Um, it's such like a stupid small thing to worry about too. And then you have all like these fucking trolls, but some people were like dead serious of like, well, how is Obi-Wan supposed to age this much in like 5 years or 9 years, whatever the gap is between Kenobi and A New Hope? And it's like, fuck off. It's like, my favorite tweet was like, I know why. It's because it's two different actors.
Yeah, exactly. And also, like, he's 50 right now, and it's like, how's he gonna age this much in 10 more years? It's like, when he's 60, he might kind of look like that. Like, maybe not, because we live in a different time than the fucking 70s when Alex Guinness was 60. But just calm down. Really?
I think I saw that Ewan McGregor was almost the same age that
As Alex Guinness.
Alex Guinness was in A New Hope. I think he's like very close. Also, Ewan McGregor, he's new age he's new Hollywood, where like 60 looks like they're 40. You know what I mean? Like that's just the way that Hollywood is now. He's a very handsome man. It's such a stupid fucking thing to get mad about, but I do think that there is a real issue, and I'm not saying I could write something better, but I think that between the Marvel shows and the Star Wars shows, one, they make them way too short, which really, like, I think that this show, I don't know, because this show was originally supposed to be a movie. This story dropped like today, all over like Reddit and Twitter, but literally the actual in real time, we were all alive to witness this and see it happen in real time. Where Kenobi was originally supposed to be a movie, like we all knew.
We covered it on the show years ago.
It's like they're coming out with a story now, like, hey, this could have been a movie, Like, no, it was supposed to be a movie. It was supposed to be Boba Fett and Kenobi, which I think Boba Fett for sure probably benefited from going to a TV show, even though I wasn't as big a fan of the TV show. Whereas I think Kenobi is probably better off as a TV show. And it's kind of contradicting myself because my biggest complaint with the shows is the storytelling and the incredibly short episode counts. Like Moon Knight was rushed like out of nowhere. The last episode of Moon Knight, I had liked the show a lot leading up to it, but the problem is when you got to the last episode, you're kind of like, there's just so much that needs to happen, and it hasn't. And we literally only have 40 minutes left to do it. And they did exactly what I didn't want them to do, which was they just rushed through it. Whereas with Kenobi, I felt like that they dragged out something that they probably didn't need to, which was the whole storyline with Leia. I thought that whole thing was dragged out way too long. That probably is my biggest issue with the show. Is not even the fact of him knowing Leia beforehand. It's that I think that like it didn't work for me of how like serious the tone was with Vader and Kenobi, and then you just have Princess Leia, who for a fact nothing's going to happen to her.
That's what makes it hard with a lot of these prequel things. It's just like, okay, like Luke's not really in danger.
Yeah, exactly. We know Owen and Beru don't get fucking smoked by the Inquisitor. We know this. But it worked for the fight between Kenobi and Vader, and Kenobi fucking him up at the end. That was great. It was not something I would have saw coming. The result of it was awesome. It was officially the true death of Anakin was at that moment. And I thought that was great. I don't know how you can really argue with that too, especially as a Star Wars fan. If your biggest issue with that is going back to a fucking line in A New Hope, a movie that was written 45 years ago, then you're too dense to talk to. But the storytelling, I do have a big issue with all the Disney shows, and it's really, really tough for me to fully invest myself in it to care enough. And I think a lot of this too is a huge domino effect from Game of Thrones. It's funny, but it's not funny. It's almost like I'm like scarred from Game of Thrones of not only did that end so badly, and now I just have like trust issues with other shows. It's
Mm.
that I'm having a really really hard time getting into shows that were at like the same tier that Game of Thrones was when it peaked, which was like perfect television in my opinion. And I haven't had a show like that other than maybe Succession, where I think a show is like, this is as good as it gets. This is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Maybe Ted Lasso. It's probably a little bit of a different side where like the comedy of that works really well, but in terms of like drama and action, even like Westworld really fucking fell apart after a really awesome like top 10 TV seasons ever, season 1 of Westworld. And I think it's just really disappointing to see a studio with Disney who has all this money and like they're putting out more shows a year than they are movies now.
Mm-hmm.
So I would hope
By a
that there's a
lot,
little
yeah.
I would hope there's a little more investment too. And I haven't watched it yet, but Miss Marvel I think is like 12 episodes. It's
Oh,
like
is it?
significantly longer than
Wow.
all the other ones. That may be I may be it's between like I think it's between 8 and 12. It's more than the other shows have been too.
Mm.
And I don't know anything about Miss Marvel, so I'm not going to judge it. But it's also just a character I never heard of and I don't particularly care about.
Mm.
I think it's great that we have it's a young girl and it's also a girl of
Yeah, the Muslim superhero.
she is Muslim. I didn't want to throw out anything out there. So I think that part's great too. And obviously she's leading into the next age of this Avengers movie
Mm.
universe.
Yeah, she's gonna be
But
in the Marvels movie with the next Captain Marvel movie.
but if you have something like I did think Loki was really good, but same thing. It just feels like in the end everything gets too rushed.
Mm.
And Kenobi, like I said, was different. It was more stretched out an idea. I don't know. Maybe it would have been better as a movie. Moon Knight was a really really big one for me, where I thought like you have Oscar Isaac, who was unbelievable in it. I don't know if you've seen Moon Knight. I don't remember
Yes,
if
yeah,
you've seen it or
yeah,
not.
yeah.
So I thought that ending it was so rushed, and then introducing the third version of himself that we all knew was
Yeah.
there, and like a post credit scene, and then killing once again spoilers, killing Ethan Hawke like out of nowhere. I thought that was
Mm.
just so poorly done. And then the fight between Ethan Hawke, is it Kontu, who is Moon Knight,
Contra, yeah.
and then that was like so. It just looked like shit. And I think that you're getting maybe it is nitpicking, but I do feel like that if the general side of it agrees with it, whatever. Um, but it takes away from me in the end of trying to enjoy the show overall, which I really want to do. Because, like I said, for the most point, it's kind of a ramble, but for the most point, I agree with you where it's like, just shut up and stop nitpicking and enjoy it. But I do think that there are some like very, very valid criticisms, particularly with the Disney TV shows
Mm-hmm.
that are kind of like too hard to. I think people are just getting upset about the wrong things, like the
Yeah.
stupid things.
And I should say that like my more issue isn't like people not liking it; it's people being like, "I could do this better." And it's like, no,
Yeah.
you can't. I've seen YouTubers and stuff try to make movies. You all suck. Like, it is what it is. Like, I think, especially with this stuff, it's so you have to probably get through so many like layers. Like the person who in that article today was talking like, "Oh, I wrote the script for the Kenobi movie. They got paid to write a script, and then that's it. Like they were not involved after that, and it probably went through like 10, 15 different rounds of rewrites, different people coming in. Like because of what it is, like no one's gonna get a pure story. There's no like." There's pretty much just no media that's just like, oh, this director or this actor or this writer is bringing their vision to life outside of like Quentin Tarantino, maybe. But even he said he couldn't get funding for a movie he wanted to do recently. So like,
Well, look what happened with Eggers on The Northman.
that's a great
He
example.
he
Yeah.
finally was able to get the budget to do the exact vision he wanted. And I guess even then he said that there was like a shitload of the movie that he ended up having to cut
Yeah.
to make it like able to release wide.
Mm.
I love The Northman. I think The Northman's one of the best movies I've seen in the past 5 years. It's amazing too. See
I
it and
haven't
like
seen it, but I saw The Lighthouse and I thought that was amazing.
see it if you get a chance to see it in theater, which I doubt you will for a while. Do it. If not, see it in like a good movie setting, like lights off. You have surround sound, throw it on. It's unbelievable. It's super super trippy too. It's just I love the whole Norse mythology and all that. regardless, he finally got the budget too, and I think he's a very very talented director, very creative.
Mm-hmm.
Got to do his vision as close as it could be for a studio with this movie, and it flopped at the movie in the theaters. Same thing, a very very same thing happened with Dennis Villeneuve. I always fuck up his last name. Is it Villeneuve? Denny V. Over there who did Blade Runner 2049. That flopped really fucking hard. And then the biggest concern with Dune coming out was that obviously it was coming out on HBO Max the same day that it came out in theaters, was that it was going to be doing a massive flop with that. Luckily, that movie was also amazing, and they're doing a second one. It just seems like, I agree. I think that you have people like Quentin Tarantino, Steven Spielberg, probably Christopher Nolan, because even then with like Tenet is like a really fucking confusing movie and really hard to follow along with. But still, he's a guy that can just do whatever he wants now. I mean, there's others too, but in terms of big massive level, it is very rare, because even like Kathleen Kennedy came out and said that the only reason that they didn't do the Obi-Wan Kenobi movies was because that how badly the Solo movie did at the theater, and that side sucks because I think that people were already having Star Wars fatigue then, because we were just coming out of that was 6 months of Last Jedi coming out, which obviously is polarizing to say the least for people. And then less than 6 months later, we had, and in between that, we had at least a year in between movies. But we had 6 months in between these, and I thought Solo was a good movie. They also released it in the summer window, which they weren't doing with the other Star Wars movies. I don't know why they didn't just wait and release that in the same window that they had been in that December timeline, because it was doing perfect. See what happened with No Way Home? They pushed to December, and they were the only other movie other than Top Gun now to eclipse a billion since the pandemic. I don't know. It's just like I also don't think that like necessarily Kathleen Kennedy is the issue. It's just it just seems that the Disney is just doing these shows really as not even necessarily money, because obviously we're not paying just to watch these shows, but it just seems like they're kind of just doing it to just keep building content rather than having the quality.
They're very afraid to do anything outside of Star Wars or Marvel. Just make an original movie. And I guess Pixar, right? They had that was it Big Red?
Turning Red. It's actually a very good movie. Because they just keep doing also individual characters that I don't really want to see their own movie, and I'm sure that they have their own fan bases. Obviously they do, but like I saw, like it came out, it was leaked today by Howard Stern of all people, that they're doing a Doctor Doom TV or movie or TV show, and he's in it. It was like I don't know if it was like a really like savvy marketing idea, or like it was genuinely a hot mic caught. But I guess like when he went to commercial, he was heard talking to people in the studio about how he's doing the Doctor Doom movie, and he was asking like Robert Downey Jr. for like acting tips and all that. And it's just like, why do we need a Doctor Doom movie first? Why can't we just have
a Fantastic Four movie? Yeah.
Like, I just don't get why the need, and I brought up last episode too. I really am also just, part of me is just probably me being a grumpy Gil, that I really am just exhausted with most Marvel things now and most Skywalker properties. I think everything for Star Wars that has been away from the Skywalkers has been great. But even with the Mandalorian, when they were doing stuff with Luke and all that, it worked for me. But I think when everything's focused around the Skywalkers, he was saying the same characters, it's really just I'm just getting the fatigue. But Marvel is worse. But like, why do we need a Doctor Doom movie? Why do we need a fucking Morbius movie?
Well,
I know they're Sony, but like, and like, why are we getting like the other one, like the Mexican wrestler one from Marvel too?
Oh yeah, that's a weird
El Muerto, I think that's what it's called. Like, who wants an El Muerto movie? Like, it's great representation for for Mexicans. That part's awesome. But put him in a Spider-Man movie and get it there. Like that the movie's gonna crash, and then they're gonna be like, oh, El Muerto didn't do too good, so we're not gonna do like a Miles Morales movie now. It's gonna be something fucking stupid like that.
I did hear that at least Kevin Feige said that he's getting involved on the Sony side. to help them.
Because that's a whole nother topic for another day. Is the whole issue with Spider-Man and that being split and like the Venom. It's just in the end, it's turning out to be too much.
I think it does hurt Marvel's brand that Sony keeps like biffing their characters so hard to where like that's probably why Kevin Feige's like, I'm just going to help them because they can't do this. They don't understand the characters. I don't like. I grew up as someone who read a lot of comics and was very into this stuff, but I fucking knew like this whole time when the MCU is getting popular, I was like, it's gonna get to a point that it's gonna get too much for people. Like it's gonna become comics, and that's gonna be too much because comics are so fucking weird, dude. Mm-hmm. All the stories are so like, I don't like. It was kind of a little bit different because there was like a part of me where it's like, well, maybe they'll never get this weird. Like I was not expecting them to introduce a multiverse into mainstream movies, but they did it, and I love it because I'm a fucking nerd from like as a kid, so I'm into it, but like I don't know if this is gonna be forever with the MCU. I don't know if they can incorporate all the weird shit that they probably want to and have people be like chill with it.
I know I've said this before too, but the superhero movies in general, we're in that era where the same thing that was for the boomers with westerns. Yeah. Where like there's going to be like a million of the movies that come out. You know, there's going to be like I don't know, 40% of them are good. The rest are like bad or shit or very, very forgettable. Mm-hmm. I think that's just what's happening with superhero movies too, because I'm sure people back in the day were like, wow, like every other movie's a Western, starring John Wayne. So it's the same thing that's happening now. It's the same like 5 stars you see in the whole multiverse stuff was very cool at first. And that's a whole nother thing that's now just getting dragged out too. And it's going to lead into what we'll close out the show with talking about of going over to DC, where just unnecessary multiverses, but yeah, I there's just a fine line because I agree with you for the most part. We just got to enjoy this stuff, but at the same time, it's like I really wish that there was just more quality writing and thought process and put it into things. I'm not saying I can do it better, but it's for sure I think an issue with just TV shows in Hollywood in general, where they're just pumping out as much as they can without even really caring about it, and then dealing with the shit after the fact. Because like there's like another thing, for example, a lot of it is like it's almost all money. Like the Ubisoft, for example, has that pirate game it's like the open world pirate game that they've been working on forever, and they announced that completely out of the blue that it's coming out this November. After pushing it off for 8 years, and I'm like, oh, cool, great. And like games now after Cyberpunk are just so hesitant to put out video games that aren't like done or complete. But apparently, the only reason they're putting this out is contract reasons that they have with the government of Singapore, that it has to be put out regardless of if the game was, because from what I read, it seemed like they were just almost going to scrap it. But now
they did scrap the original version of it. That's why it's been so long.
And now, because of that contract with Singapore, they're going to have to put it out. It's going to be a shitty game. It's probably going to do really bad. Things like, oh, God, people just don't want pirate games, or people don't want like single-player campaign games now. It's like, no, you just put out a bad game.
At least there's Sea of Thieves for people looking for pirate stuff.
I will say I am playing another game that has its own history right now. That it's very, very interesting. I really wanted to talk about it because last week we talked about Starfield, which is, every time I talk to people about this, it gets very confusing. I've been playing Star Citizen on PC, which I will read the wiki description real quick for people who don't know what it is. So Star Citizen is it's still in development. Multiplayer space trading and combat simulation game. The game is being developed and published by Cloud Imperium Games for Microsoft. An extended retry of unrealized plans for Freelancer. Star Citizen is being led by director Chris Roberts, blah, 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 blah. The game was announced on October 18th, 2012, so a little under 10 years ago, through a successful Kickstarter campaign, which initially drew over $2 million US. Pre-production on the campaign began in 2010, production starting in 2011. Star Citizen has become a highly criticized during its long production process, both for the fact that there is still no clear release date for the main game to come out, and for the challenges of the backers who have abandoned the project and have faced in receiving a refund. To cut in real quick, there are people that were pledging like thousands of dollars to this too. That were like getting updates and they weren't like they were supposed to be getting updates too and they weren't like there's other people that donated like I think like as little as like 50. It's obviously 10 years is crazy.
Yeah,
um
I would say Star Citizen is the biggest like success story in the early days of Kickstarter that has become one of the bigger like clusterfucks of a like Kickstarter story through these 10 years.
the launch of the game was originally anticipated for 2014, but it was repeatedly delayed. A reminder,
2014, that's so funny.
2022, and
Yeah.
the game is still not fully out. I will explain that after. In 2013, after more than a decade in hold on. In 2013, Cloud Imperium Games began releasing parts of the game known as modules to provide players with the opportunity to experience gameplay features prior to release. The latest of these modules, known as the Persistent Universe, which is what we're in now, was made available to test and pre-purchasers in 2015 and continues to receive updates after more than a decade in development. No projected date for the commercial release of Star Citizen is currently given.
Mm-hmm.
And just real quick, the game has now reached a point where it's made or raised over. I think it's at 600 million now, for what it's made for a game that hasn't even come out yet. So to explain to you how I've played it, you go on to this website, which is it's basically like it's a meta website, but it ties into the game. It's called robertspaceindustries.com. You go on there. This is how you get access to the game. So I'm not really buying the game. I'm paying for access to begin playing the alpha.
Mm-hmm.
So I paid $45. It's basically it's part of a pledge. So I get the alpha, and then I'll get the game. I'll get online when it releases. But pretty much, I'm allowed to play what's available now, and they're still running updates. It's all online. They're still running updates and all that, and basically they're trying out different things within the game. And if it works, they're gonna keep going with it.
Mm-hmm.
If not, they're gonna scrap it and try something else. So basically, to sum it up, Star Citizen, it's an open world multiplayer game online. There is a story mode. It hasn't come out yet. Mark Hamill is one
Mark
of the big
Hamill's in
names.
it. Speaking of Star Wars,
There's
yeah.
actually quite a few big actors in it, but Mark Hamill is one of the big ones.
Does Mark Hamill even remember recording these lines? Probably not. It's
I was
been
about to
so
say because he
long.
looks young in the video.
Mhm.
Like he looks younger than he was in Last Jedi.
It was a
Uh,
pretty early like get for them
yeah.
hiring Mark Hamill.
Uh, so it's all multiplayer. You're online. You're literally in this universe for which you can travel.
Mhm.
There's I think 4 different planets you can start out at. You can do bounty hunting. You can do package delivery, which is what I've done a lot of, just be able to see space and area and all that. You can do races. You can do like investigations, things like that. It's very, very cool.
Mhm.
You and your friends can link up. Basically, you need to go. You buy all your armor. You
Mhm.
buy to upgrade your ship and all that. You can spend in real life money, but you make a decent amount of in-game currency, so you shouldn't really have to do that unless you just don't give a fuck about grinding and just want to pay whatever.
Sure.
But it's like I have to like feed my character. I have to have him eat. If I get shot, I have to like patch myself and then go to a medical center to get proper care. If I if my ship blows up, I need to like pay to have it fixed and wait for it to be delivered back to the spaceport I'm at. It's just a lot. It's a lot, and most of the game is in real time too. I would say technically all the game is in real time. There's no load screens. Um, so
That's
like
cool.
if I want to go, so I live on a planet called Area 18, which is basically like the whole gimmick of the planet is the entire thing's a city. The entire thing's like one giant city on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
It's
It's
like a
like
Coruscant.
Coruscant. Yeah.
Yep. And so like I wake up in my apartment complex, I go downstairs, there's like a shop where I can eat, a shop where I can get ammo and all that too. You can see other players there. And then if I want to get to the spaceport, there's like bars and stuff too you can go to, and you pay and you can like mingle with like in real life people there too. That's another really
Mm-hmm.
cool part. I have to go to this train station. I have to get on the subway, and it takes me to the on like a fast monorail to like the space station. the spaceport, and so I can go there and get my ship. And like you get onto the train, like other people are on the train with you, going different places. And it's like I said, it's in real time. You see the train circling around. You're traveling in and around the city. You see people moving and all that. So I get to the space station. I go out my ship. Um, I take off from the port. Leaving the atmosphere of a planet is fucking insane because you're doing it yourself too. The flying is not easy, especially because I'm really getting accustomed to keyboard and mouse. I'm not good with it at all.
You'll
So
get there. It's like the more you play it, it becomes pretty easy.
taking off and leaving the planet and going in, leaving the atmosphere, getting the space is unbelievable because you're doing it, like I said, no load screens. I'm actually able to run it on high for graphics. Everything else I have shut off to low, and it actually works really, really well. But leaving the atmosphere, going into space is just an unbelievable feeling too. And then at that point, you can jump anywhere else in space through like a hyperdrive. So doing that, and like I played with a friend the other night. We did like a bounty hunting mission together. I've been like running packages for myself to these different planets too. It's just the graphics for this game are actually unbelievable, and they're only going to get better too because it's like this is all it's all still being worked on, and it does have the bugs, but I'm hoping it's going to be there soon. But it's like an experience of nothing I've ever played before. It's insane.
When you fly, is there could I have like a flight stick and stuff? Could I fly the ship with a flight stick, or is it
Sure, I would be shocked if you couldn't.
Yeah, that would be sick. Honestly, just like fly around space with it.
I would be shocked if you couldn't. Especially because of how popular like flying simulators are and stuff now. It just seems like it's just kind of like a very easy thing to integrate. So
Yeah.
I feel like you must be able to.
Yeah, man, I bought it for there's that Star Wars
Rogue Squad.
Rogue Squad. Yeah. I bought it for that, and I have like my Oculus Quest playing it. It's like this is the fucking future. Like I don't know if or when we're gonna get there, but this is insane.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just got a text from my brother. I have really wanted to get a joystick for Microsoft Flight Simulator just to try that. But very similar, when you're booting up your ship, you gotta like boot up certain switches.
Yeah.
You gotta like turn the engines on and all that. It's very cool. I highly recommend it for the $45 if you can run it.
Yeah, I might
try it. It's and like it could be good content too. We could stream it. It's really it's cool. It's in like I am still very excited for Starfield, what we talked about last week, because I'll be playing that on my PC. I won't be. Oh, actually, no, I won't be playing on my PlayStation. I'll be playing it on my PC because I will have to. It's not coming out for PS4 or PS5. So I'll have to play it on PC. But I am really excited for that. But that's going to be more story driven, where this is more just simulation experience. And the gunplay is actually surprisingly insane. Like recently where I left off, I crashed on a planet. Because I hit an asteroid or comet belt coming in, and my ship was completely fucked, and I ran out of fuel, so I crashed in like these mountains on this planet, and it's just me and like nothing else around me. And I shot my gun, and like the echo on the gun going off in the mountains was so realistic. It's cool. Insane. I'll send you the pictures too of like how good it looks too. I was literally crashing down to the planet. And like you enter the atmosphere, you go through like the atmosphere clouds and all that, and you break through the clouds, and you just see like you see the earth down below you, and it was like just all like mountains and hills and woods and stuff. It's sick. I'm blown away by it, and there's just so much that's going to get better with it too. There's a massive learning curve, learning all the buttons and everything you need to do, and like eating and equipping and all that stuff. But it's great. So I don't want to drag this out anymore, but I highly recommend it.
Yeah, no, I'll test it out. Like I don't know if my computer can handle it. I might need to upgrade some stuff. But hey, the crypto market's crashing, so I hear I can actually get a new graphics card now.
Oh yeah, it's getting much better. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been doing this
awesome.
week. Too.
I'm really glad that it actually came out and people are actually enjoying it.
That's why I never even had like known it was in like a playable state.
Me either until you brought it up.
It's buggy, but it's playable enough where it's not that bad, and like doing a lot of the shit is just very, very cool. So I highly recommend it, and yeah, maybe we can figure out a stream situation. So
yeah, definitely, I would definitely get on that, figuring that out.
So we can do that. So we have dragged out a lot of our like pre-main discussion. But we'll quickly get on to our main topic this week, which is Ezra Miller, the
Yes.
the person that has just taken America by storm. So
Literally, yes.
Ezra Miller, as I'm sure most of you are familiar, they are the Flash
Mm-hmm.
uh, in Batman. Oh no, was he in Batman vs Superman? He wasn't like a scene of Batman vs
Yeah,
Superman.
a scene,
But then Justice
of
League,
Suicide Squad.
Suicide
Was
Squad,
in
yep,
Justice League. Both versions of that.
yep. And then
For what it's worth, they're very good as the Flash.
I thought
Doesn't
I thought they
make up
were.
for anything they've done, but
I will say off the bat, I'm trying very, very hard to remember the they them. If I let
yeah,
it slip, apologize. I'm not gonna keep going
same
back, but
here. Yeah.
I'm constantly trying to correct myself in my head. But
Mm.
yeah, they're very good. Unfortunately, they're crazy in real life,
Terrible
which
person,
sucks.
it seems.
So
Yeah.
if you've not heard, Ezra Miller was poisoned. So I'm going to quickly brush through the story by GQ just to kind of fill out what's going on, and then we'll kind of give our points and my kind of main point after that. But Ezra Miller was supposed to become a bona fide A-lister. DC's The Flash set to release in June 2023, which I felt like this movie was coming out this fall. I can't believe it's been delayed that much. And for those of you who aren't aware, Flash is another multiverse movie where the Flash is jumping between universes. Michael Keaton's back as Batman. I believe
Ben
Ben Affleck
Affleck's
is
back as
back as
Batman.
Batman. It's just all that shit. Success of the movie, not to mention the future of Miller's career in general, has been thrown into disarray following the string of arrests and allegations of aggressive and manipulative behavior. Miller has been racking up arrests and dubious incidents across different islands in Hawaii for the last couple months, where I believe he's been getting in the fights. He threw a chair at a woman for asking him to leave her house party. A lot of stuff like that. But the story has taken a darker turn in recent weeks. On June 23rd, Rolling Stone published an extensive piece revealing that a young mother and her children, all between the ages of 1 and 5, are currently staying with Miller on their 96-acre Vermont farm. The woman told Rolling Stone that she's found a home to be, quote, a healing haven for us. That's not good. After leaving an abusive relationship, that's not good either. But two unnamed sources who spoke to Rolling Stone said that the adults on the property have been farming marijuana and smoking it around children, despite not legally being allowed to do so. Smoking weed is awesome. Smoking it around children and in their faces and shit is
Less
not.
so, yeah, not great.
Per Vermont's Cannabis Control Board, the sources that said that there was a sizable number of firearms around the house, including assault weapons. That's an even obviously bigger issue, because you hear that and you hear, Healing Haven, you just start thinking of cult, early stages of a
Yes.
cult, especially, I reference Last Podcast on the Left like once a week on here, but every story they've ever done on a cult really honestly starts out like this, where you have a very impressionable person, and somebody that is very charismatic, and Ezra Miller, and you combine it, and it's just not good. And it seems like I don't want to say that they are going through a mental episode, but it kind of seems like they just snapped out of nowhere. The news comes just after 2 weeks after the story broke that the parents of 18-year-old Native American activist Dakota Iron Eyes, awesome name, filed for a protective order against Miller and accused them of grooming. Per the Los Angeles Times, the parents believe Miller has been psychologically manipulating, physically intimidating, and endangering the safety and welfare of Iron Eyes, including giving her drugs and alcohol and attempting to sleep in bed with the then 14-year-old when Miller was 25.
Jesus.
Also not great, especially now when he has kids, when they have children at their home. A tweet from Sarah Jumping Eagle, another awesome name. Iron Eyes' mother accused Miller of physically assaulting as well as perpetuating cult-like behaviors, there we go, and emotional abuse. In a post to her own Instagram account, Iron Eyes, who also goes by Gibson, pushed back against her parents' actions, saying that Miller has only provided loving support and valuable protection. Another big red flag there. Listen to your parents most of the time.
It's tough. You think you know shit when you're that young. You don't know anything at all.
But to cap this off, as of mid-June, Miller could not be located in order to be served the protective order. According to the Times, Miller and Iron Eyes have spent time in several places, including New York, London, Vermont, Hawaii, and where Miller was arrested earlier this year on 2 separate occasions for second-degree assault and disorderly conduct and harassment. There's also another issue where a judge in Massachusetts issued a temporary harassment prevention order to a 12-year-old child and their mother after an altercation in February, according to the Daily Beast. An An argument broke out when Miller accused the mother of cultural appropriation, which later turned into a dispute between Miller and a visiting neighbor over the purported Rastafarian roots of the board game Parcheesi. Interesting. The neighbor told the publication that Miller lifted their jacket to show a gun and made a menacing remark. The child told the Daily Beast that Miller's behavior made them really uncomfortable and scared to be around. Though Miller apparently apologized, they returned on multiple occasions and made unwanted physical contact with the 12-year-old. And this is in Massachusetts too. Let's see where we
Damn.
are.
I didn't want to know that Ezra was in Massachusetts. That's frightening, quite frankly.
So Ezra Miller is just causing mayhem. Very, very, very strange behavior from them. Uh, like this article started out, they're really posed to kind of be the new, basically, in my opinion, be the new like Spider-Man of the DCU, where you have the young,
definitely, yeah,
the young, funny, charismatic character with the Flash. I don't. First, I'm not going to fully judge Ezra Miller. Like going, it sounds to me in everything I've ever done with research and reading on cults, it sounds like he's in the very early stages of trying to form some form of like self-healing cult. Whatever's going on there, something's not right. Obviously, and had a bad time in Hawaii. I don't remember hearing anything about him before any of this though. So that's another like weird thing. But I think maybe it's like a mental snap. I don't know.
I remember Ezra Miller got in trouble a year or two ago, maybe more. They like punched or like threw a girl to the ground outside of a bar. I just remember being like, "That's crazy." Like, it almost didn't even seem real. The video, like, maybe it was staged. I don't know. Now it seems like it was real, and then all the stuff in Hawaii was happening, and it was like, okay, that's definitely bad, and they definitely need help. But like, you can somewhat forgive that, but then you get into the territory of like grooming minors and like starting cult. It's like, all right, well, that's not really forgivable. So I don't really know what. Obviously, this is not the most important thing in the world, but I don't know what Warner Brothers can do at this point. Like,
so that's the main talking point for me, because like I said, I think this has the early stages of a cult. It's very bad. I don't really know what deserves to be done. They can't find the guy, or they can't find them in 2022. That's crazy, especially when they know that the mother is living at that Vermont farm. I did read another story that confirmed that like the child welfare services went out to that farm, and because the big thing was that one of the babies had like a bullet in their mouth or were playing with bullets and shit. That the Child Protective Services went out to the farm and said that everything was fine.
mm-hmm.
So the leading charge behind that story is the father who's trying to get his kids back, but apparently it was an abusive relationship according to the mother. That's all bad. But on to Ezra Miller, I just it's been over 5, 6, 7 years since the DCU really started to kick off with Batman vs Superman. So 7 years, 7 years. That was 2015. Or was it 2015 or 2016 when Batman vs Superman came out? I think it was 2016. Sure. 2016. So we'll say 60. I think it was March of 2016. So March 2016. So 6 years since Batman vs Superman came out, which was the start of the multiverse, or the start of the cinematic universe for DC. A very below average movie with Batman vs Superman. Even though I love Ben Affleck as Batman, kind of like kicked off just a non-stop whirlwind of just bad shit happening to this universe and their actors. And Ezra Miller seems like that's going to be like the tipping point for all this too, because there's discussions now of them. I don't see them being able to do this with how much money they probably poured into it, of just completely scrapping this movie, which is already completely shot. There's talks of replacing Ezra Miller, which I don't understand how you could do, because like I said, you would have to basically reshoot almost the entire movie. Unless you get really cheeky and try to superimpose their face onto Ezra Miller
fucking
body,
like Dylan O'Brien's face.
You just can't do that too. I don't know, but I'll tell you one thing. The only people that are gonna go see this movie now are people that want to see if Ezra Miller continues to like spiral and train wreck,
Mm.
I think that something is going to have to give. But it seems like most of the crowd is going to be drawn to this movie is going to be because of its chaotic star, and that's going to be bad. It's going to be like a Morbius situation where it's going to become like a meme. They're like, oh, people like this movie.
I
But
almost
I had high hope for this movie to be good. So I'm
yeah, me
also kind
too.
of pissed off. But the
Yeah.
DCEU is just it's a mess,
Mm-hmm.
and they can't get out of there. And it's like it's a mess in real life and like on the screen. You know what I mean? Because the majority of the movies have been bad, and we get this happening to what was
Mm-hmm.
going to be the next biggest movie after the very middle of the pack Justice League Snyder movie.
Mm-hmm.
This just sucks because I know both you and I were DC guys first and
First
foremost.
and foremost, yeah. Love the DC comics and DC animated shows growing up. Um, yeah, I don't even know what they can do. Like, I think almost at this point, it's like they're not. What are they gonna? They're gonna put another $150 million into reshooting like basically the entire film. Probably not. So I could honestly see this just getting dumped onto HBO Max
For
and
something
just
that was
being like,
something
just
that was
watch
already
it like it's over.
or something that was already delayed a few times because of
Mm,
COVID, and then because they needed to do reshoots too.
mm.
So it's just like it's turning to Morbius. Dude, Morbius is supposed to be out like forever. I think Morbius was when the movie was supposed to come out in like 2019.
I almost wonder if Sony like is like, I wish we had not released Morbius.
It's I I I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Like with Ezra Miller, that's really disappointing. And then obviously they're
Mm,
just seemingly a piece of shit. So I mean, that's that with them. And in terms of like we talked about before, separating the artist and the art, if this gets any worse, you're not going to be able to do that, and they're going to have to do something with the movie.
yeah.
I don't know. I think that the DCEU is is long gone. I don't even know how they can. I don't know how they can bring it back. They try to do something stupid with because this is Ben Affleck's last outing as Batman.
Mm-hmm.
They did that whole thing with Henry Cavill. They don't want him as Superman anymore, even though he was like the best part of all that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think they were. Then we have everything with Amber Heard
Yep.
going on with the Aquaman movie. It's just nonstop chaos after chaos,
Mm-hmm.
nonsense after nonsense. It's just I think that this is the one. The only fatigue I'm having with this universe is because the movies have stunk, not because I don't
Mm-hmm.
want more from this universe. So
Maybe they
it's
just
just
go all in on Peacemaker. Like he's the guy, John Cena. He's the leader. That show is wonderful. I don't know if you've seen it, but
I agree.
it's great.
I think that they just have to axe
Mm-hmm.
the cinematic universe and just
Yeah.
go back to solo movies because like the
Mm-hmm.
Batman, I
Good.
loved
Really
it,
good. Yep.
unbelievable. The Joker, as we talked about last week too, great first movie. I'm really digging what they're going to do with the second one.
Yep.
Peacemaker can totally be by himself and still be good. So
Mm-hmm.
I really like James Gunn's Suicide Squad too. So
Yeah.
that's
No, me
another.
too.
It's
Just let good directors make good individual movies, and it's fine. You know.
I hate to
And they
say it,
really could have done that coming off of Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. Just keep doing that.
they
Who
need
cares
they,
about connected stuff?
they're gonna go forward. They need it. They need like a Kevin Feige. They
Yeah.
need like someone that's gonna be good. They can't do or like Filoni with Star Wars. Like I
Mm-hmm.
think David Filoni and John Favreau should have everything Star Wars from here on out. And I think that DC desperately needs that. I don't know. I don't know what they do. And like some of it's not through their own fault.
Mm-hmm.
And like we had all that weird shit with Jared Leto and the Joker with the rats, and it's just there's so much
Yeah.
weird stuff that have gone on with
Yeah.
DCU. It's just exhausting. And like I said, I
Yeah.
think that this is going to be finally where we get the eruption and like the backlash of it. If the thing with Ezra Miller gets much worse because they were already facing the backlash with Amber Heard.
Mm-hmm.
This gets much worse with them. Then I think that's just a wrap. I don't understand how you can go forward. And then
No. Me either.
you just either scrap the movie or like, hey, all right, give us another year and a half to rewrite
Reshoot
this,
it.
reshoot it. Hope to God we can get like Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck back on to reshoot, that's the other like main issue. It's not as simple as just saying let's reshoot these. We got to work around these schedules of these Hollywood A-list celebrities.
Mm-hmm.
It's not good, and I obviously hope that the thing with Ezra Miller ends well. It doesn't seem like it's going to. I hope it
There's
does.
a 50-50 chance this ends in like a fucking shootout with the like government.
Agreed,
Honestly.
or like a fucking Jonestown suicide.
Mm-hmm.
It's no, not good.
Yeah. Oh man, what a mess! What a mess. Watch Peacemaker though, very good
Agreed. Yep.
show.
Agreed.
Um, anything else for this episode?
So
Pretty
we're
jam
gonna.
packed.
Sorry,
Oh right, we have another segment.
we have one more thing. Our new thing we're going to try at the end of each episode called Wiki Roulette.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to be randomly cycling through Wikipedia articles and quickly discussing them. Hopefully, get something funny. Please remember that there's a very, very high chance we're going to get something very, very lame.
Yes.
But we're going to power through it anyway. And that's just going to be our niche thing at the end of each episode. If you're still listening to us rabble on, all the props to you. Thanks for being a real fan.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I got it up. All right. I'm going to start cycling. I'm going to do 3 cycles, and then I'm going to stop. It's 1, 2,
Okay.
3. All right.
Where'd we land?
We got a bad one. Well, it doesn't sound that bad. So today's wiki topic is Hect. Hect. And Hect,
Okay.
or Hector, was a Japanese video game developer and publisher. It had a virtual boy. It had a virtual boy game. Whoa, virtual boy
Mm-hmm.
game in development entitled Virtual Battle Ball. However, it eventually was canceled.
Darn. Okay.
List of games that they came out with was Shogun. This all sounds very old. So hold on. Moon Crystal, a side-scrolling action game released by Hecht for Family Computer. For the Family Computer in 1992, the player controls a green-haired boy on a quest to rescue his kidnapped family from the evil necromancer Count Crimson.
Mm-hmm.
Its gameplay is similar to that of Zelda and Prince of Persia, so that's cool. No other games I have ever heard of.
What's their most recent game?
It seems like this was potentially in order of release, maybe. Most recent game, Golf Grand Slam. That Moon Crystal was the only one that had like a description with it. Okay, so that was our topic. There was really nothing there. So let me cycle to something where we can at least get an article. All right. I don't know if this is going to stick around. Our next topic is Three Who Loved. Three Who Loved is a 1931 American pre-code drama film directed by George Archambaud from a screenplay by Bella Marie Dix, based on a story by Pulitzer Prize-winning author Martin Flavin. The film revolves around a love triangle between Betty Compson, Conrad Nagel, and Robert Ames, and was produced in RKO Pictures, which has distributed the film, releasing it on July 3rd, 1931.
1931? Oh my god.
The plot is Helga Larsen Hansen is living in Sweden, but is engaged to the American fledgling attorney John Hansen. Hansen has Helga move to the U.S. and sets her up in the same boarding house he lives in prior to their marriage. He summons of her might be a bit premature, since once she arrives, he is too busy with his job, this is a classic cinema, and preparing for his bar exam to spend too much time with her. Lonely, she becomes attracted to a coworker of Hansen's, Phil Wilson, who sees an opportunity to use Helga's loneliness to have his way with her.
Oh my god. Okay. I thought it was gonna be like a romantic thing, but it's just like I'm gonna fuck what was the first guy's name?
John Hansen.
I'm gonna fuck John's girlfriend. I feel like that's a good thing to do.
You're such a Phil Wilson. Yeah, Helga Larsen Hansen. Let's see how this ends. Wilson is. Meanwhile, Hansen gets himself in this legal difficulty when his investments go south and he loses the money he had been saving to buy a house for Helga and himself. Fearing that his loss of the money might lead to his losing Helga, he steals the balance from Wilson's. So there was a whole paragraph I didn't read. There's some money involved here. He steals a balance from Wilson's drawer. When the theft is discovered, Wilson is naturally blamed, and Hansen, having learned of Helga's infidelity with Wilson, lets him be arrested for the crime.
Yes, he just lets him. He's like, yeah, I don't feel bad, to be honest. He deserved this.
Oh, so it sounds like Helga fell in love with Wilson.
Mhm.
Uh, Meanwhile, Wilson continues his seduction of Helga, finally getting her to sleep with him and by falsely promising to marry her. Wow. Okay, so that happened in the paragraph I didn't read.
Yeah.
They banged. Years later, Wilson breaks out of prison, holy shit, and goes to confront Hansen, who is now living with Helga and their young child. When Wilson realizes that Helga is still realizes that Helga is still in love with him, he decides to own up to the crime. Before he can, however, Helga realizes that she has grown to love him. This is fucking confusing.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of typos going on here. I think it goes to confront Hansen, who is now living with Helga and their young child. When Wilson realizes that Helga is still in love, I think this means to say when Hansen realizes that Helga is still in love with Wilson, he decides to own up to the crime. Okay, so I think that's what this meant. So Hansen's now saying, you know what, it was me all along. Before he can, however, Helga realizes that she has grown to love him. As Wilson tries to flee from their house, he is shot and killed by police. Helga begs Hansen not to confess since there is no longer a reason to, but Hansen must clear his conscience. As he is led away, Helga vows that she will be waiting for him when he is eventually released. Yikes, what a movie.
Yeah. What a film. The guy was just like, listen, Helga, being a father, not for me. I'm going to jail. Sorry. Good luck with the kid. It's 1930. No one will hire you because women are not allowed to work yet. I am abandoning you, though, and going to jail because I feel bad about it. Also, the other guy's dead. The police brutality, they killed him. Didn't feel like they needed to from that description, but they did. What a movie.
Three Who Loved. Starring Betty Compson, Conrad Nagel, and Robert Ames.
Yeah. Wow.
All right, so that was those were our...
I want to know what happened to Helga and the kid.
I know it doesn't say anything about any sequels. Maybe Disney will do one.
Yeah, I'll write it honestly. Helga has to turn to a life of crime. And is haunted by her ex-lover who is brutally gunned down after breaking out of jail. Wow.
That's it. That's our wiki roulette. That's what we got. I think the new rule is that each time we'll scroll to where we can at least get an article and some background where like the heck that was great, but there was no like information there. So Three Who Loved. That was our topic this week.
Yeah. Wow. What a way to end the show. Dylan, anything you want to promote?
Yep. Nope. Just follow me on Twitter, DJ Clubberlang. That's where I do most of my ramble rousing and arguing with nerds on the internet. So follow me there.
Yeah, and you can follow me on Twitter at the Fake Mar. That's BMARR. What else we got? Have Not Room. If you're a Big Brother fan, Big Brother coming back next week. Going to be probably pretty fun for the first few weeks until a giant alliance takes control of the game and makes it really boring. And then you can listen to Ben and I complain for an entire summer. But then Survivor comes back, and Dylan and I and Ben cover that, and that's a lot more fun usually than Big Brother.
I will say we're not going to do a podcast on it, but I am really looking forward to the Challenge USA.
Yes, that should be fun.
That's out next the 6th, whatever day the 6th is.
So that'll be good. Other than that, you can find me very often uploading on the Wicked Good Sports channel. This channel, 3 subscribers short of 100. So if you're so inclined, subscribe so we can get to 100 so I can get the custom URL for this channel so it can be youtube.com/Better Radio. That'd be very good for us.
That'd be great, yeah.
Anything else? Like Dylan said, we're going to try to make the Star Citizen stream stuff happen. So it's very exciting for me. I want to check this game out because, honestly, I never thought I'd see the day where it actually had anything playable. I thought 100% this was just a scam and whoever was developing it was just stealing money. But I guess not.
This may be as good as it gets, too. This may be the type of thing where, like, this is it. And they're just going to, like, start updating it from here. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll definitely see that. But Other than that, main channel is youtube.com/wickedgoodeverything. And yeah, thanks for listening.
Good night. Good night and good luck.